Welcome back to Golden Wellness Daily. You've probably done it 1,000 times without thinking. You get out of bed, reach down to pull on your socks, or maybe grab something off the floor. It feels like nothing, just another part of your morning. But what if I told you that this one small motion could quietly tip your brain toward a stroke before you've even finished your coffee? As a neurologist with over 30 years of experience, I've seen this moment play out far too often. People who were strong, active, independent, suddenly unable to speak, move their right side, or even remember the name of someone they love. Not because of a disease they ignored, not because of bad habits, but because of one everyday motion that their body, now in its seventh or eighth decade, could no longer handle the way it once did. Scary? Yes. But I'm not here to frighten you into stillness. I'm here to guide you toward something better. You don't need to stop moving. You need to start moving differently, because the body you're living in today is not the same one you had at 40. And when we try to follow the same rules, we risk losing everything we've worked to protect. Our clarity, our independence, even our voice. So if you're over 60 and you've been told to keep moving no matter what, this video may be the wake-up call you didn't know you needed. Let's walk through it, carefully and wisely, together. You stand up from your chair, maybe after reading the paper or finishing lunch. Nothing unusual. But then, for a second, the world tilts. You feel a little dizzy, maybe lightheaded. You blink, steady yourself, and keep going. No big deal, right? But what if that small wave of dizziness wasn't just getting up too fast? What if it was your brain's way of whispering, "I didn't get enough blood just now"? Here's what many people over 60 don't realize. As we age, our body's automatic pressure balancing system slows down. The same movement that felt harmless at 40, rising quickly from a chair, can, at 70, trigger a silent drop in brain oxygen. Why does this matter? Because sudden drops in blood flow, even for just a moment, can set the stage for clot formation in already narrowed vessels. And those clots? They don't always cause pain. Sometimes they wait quietly, until they travel upstream and block the artery feeding your brain. I treated a patient, Carol, age 79. She had been doing sit-to-stand drills as part of a balance program. One morning, she stood too quickly, reached for the counter, and collapsed. The scan showed a clot in her middle cerebral artery, a stroke. Her only mistake? Not giving her brain the extra few seconds it needed. So here's your shift. Instead of standing quickly and pushing through, pause. Use the arms of the chair. Take a breath. Let your brain catch up before your body races ahead. It's not weakness. It's wisdom. Because a few seconds of patience can protect a lifetime of independence. For decades, you've probably reached down to touch your toes or bent over to pick something up, without giving it a second thought. It's something we're told keeps us limber, youthful, active. And for many years, it likely did. But what if, today, that same movement carries a hidden risk? As we get older, the pressure sensors in our arteries, called baroreceptors, lose their sharpness. These sensors help regulate blood flow to the brain when you change positions. At 40, they adjust instantly. At 70 or 80, they might lag behind. So when you bend forward quickly, especially first thing in the morning, blood rushes downward. Your brain, for a few seconds, gets less oxygen than it needs. You may feel a little lightheaded, or nothing at all. But inside, your brain is working overtime to compensate. And if this becomes a habit, bending repeatedly or holding a forward fold, Your blood can pool, circulation slows, and tiny clots may begin to form. I remember Edward, a retired history teacher, age 74. Every morning, he touched his toes 5 times. He felt good doing it, until one day, a few hours after stretching, he collapsed while gardening. His scan revealed a clot near the motor area of his brain. We traced it back to that morning's toe touches. So here's the shift. Instead of bending forward quickly, try sitting down to put on your socks. If you must reach, do it slowly. Let your breath guide the motion, not your old habits. Because today, protecting your brain is more important than touching your toes. You've heard it before. Yoga is gentle, relaxing, perfect for aging bodies. And in many ways, it is. But what if I told you that one category of yoga poses, though marketed as restorative, could quietly overload your brain's most fragile vessels? I'm talking about inverted poses, legs up the wall, downward dog, forward folds, any position where your head dips significantly below your heart. For younger folks, the body adjusts. But in older adults, those same poses can cause sudden blood pressure shifts, flooding the brain with force it may not be ready for. You see, as we age, our blood vessels lose elasticity. The system that normally keeps brain pressure stable, called cerebral autoregulation, becomes sluggish. So when you invert, even slightly, blood can pool. Pressure builds. If you're on medication for blood pressure or have stiffened arteries, this surge can cause microvessels to swell or spasm. Let me share Evelyn's story. She was 74, loved her gentle yoga class. But one morning, after resting in a legs-up pose, she felt a sharp pain behind her eyes. Hours later, she collapsed. The scan showed a small hemorrhagic stroke in a deep part of her brain. Her instructor had never warned her. So instead of full inversions, favor upright or seated poses. Focus on breath and gentle movement. If your head starts to feel heavy or your vision blurs, pause. That's not relaxing. That's your body sending a warning. Yoga should bring peace, not pressure. And when you adjust the pose to fit the body you have now, that's not less yoga. That's smarter yoga. You bend down to grab a grocery bag. Maybe you're lifting a box of books, helping a neighbor, or carrying a grandchild. It feels good, doing things on your own, staying strong, capable, useful. But have you ever caught yourself holding your breath as you lift? That one moment, silent, unnoticed, can send a surge of pressure through your chest and into your brain. It's called the Valsalva maneuver, and it happens when we strain without breathing properly. For a younger person, the body adapts. But in our 60s, 70s, and beyond, the vessels are thinner, stiffer, less forgiving. Sudden internal pressure can cause cracks in the vessel wall or dislodge plaque that's been quietly building for years. That's how strokes happen. Not in the gym, but on the driveway, lifting a bag of soil. Let me tell you about George. He was 82, a retired firefighter. Strong, independent. One day, he lifted a heavy box of canned goods from the trunk of his car. He paused, grabbed his head, and collapsed. A clot had broken loose, triggered by a spike in blood pressure during the lift. He survived, but now relies on a walker and struggles with speech. So instead of proving your strength by doing it alone, show your wisdom by lifting with breath, posture, and intention. Exhale as you lift. Ask for help when needed. Use tools, carts, leverage. Because true independence isn't about lifting more. It's about protecting the body that carries you forward. It sounds efficient, Short bursts of movement followed by quick rest. Just a few minutes a day, and you're told it'll burn fat, boost heart health, even keep you young. That's the promise of HIIT. And for some, it delivers. But what if your arteries no longer bounce back like they used to? HIIT isn't just exercise. It's stress. Deliberate, intense cardiovascular stress. And for a body past 60, that stress can trigger something far more dangerous than a sore muscle. During a power interval, your blood pressure spikes. Your heart races. Your vessels, some already stiff or inflamed, suddenly stretch under force. If you've got hidden plaque or thinning walls, that's when cracks form, clots dislodge, and strokes happen. I remember Donald, age 74, a retired steelworker. His daughter bought him a senior workout DVD, modified jumping jacks, fast arm raises, all labeled safe. He followed the moves, then walked into his kitchen. Within minutes, he collapsed. A clot had broken free during one of those fast-paced sets. The scan showed an ischemic stroke. So instead of chasing the intensity of your younger years, chase consistency. Rather than bursts and breaks, try steady-paced walking, tai chi, or resistance band training. Movement that flows with your breath, not against it. Because at this stage, your brain doesn't need surprise. It needs rhythm. You're not weak for avoiding intensity. You're wise for choosing safety. And that choice may be the very one that keeps you living independently, joyfully, and with full clarity. Day after day. We've all heard it. Start the day with a good stretch. Arms overhead, reach for your toes, hold that pose, and breathe. It feels like you're doing something right, something your body will thank you for. But here's the surprising truth. If your body isn't warmed up first, that stretch might be doing more harm than good. Why? Because when you first wake up, your muscles are cold, your circulation is centered deep inside your core, and your blood vessels are more constricted. Suddenly forcing a stretch, especially deep ones, pulls on those tight vessels and connective tissues. For aging arteries, already less elastic and more fragile, that shock can cause spasms or sudden changes in pressure. That's exactly what happened to Eileen, a 78-year-old retired piano teacher. One morning, she followed a stretching video before her walk. Long toe touches, shoulder rolls, calf stretches, all before she'd even moved around. Midway through her walk, she felt off balance. A clot had formed earlier, likely triggered by static stretching on cold vessels. By the time her neighbor called for help, her speech was already slipping. So instead of stretching cold, walk gently in place for a few minutes. Swing your arms. Wake your body before asking it to perform. Think of it this way. Would you stretch a rubber band that's been sitting in the freezer? Of course not. You'd warm it first. Your blood vessels deserve the same care. Stretching is still good, but only when your body is truly ready. There's something peaceful about a morning walk. You step outside, feel the sun on your skin, maybe hear a bird or two. It's your time, your routine. But what if the weather isn't just warm? It's quietly dangerous. As we age, our bodies lose their ability to signal thirst properly. That means by the time you feel thirsty, you're already mildly dehydrated. Add in a warm or humid day, even a light sweat, and something changes inside your blood. It thickens. In medical terms, that's called hemoconcentration. And thickened blood doesn't flow as easily. It moves slower, sticks more. If your vessels are already narrowed from age or health conditions, that slow flow creates the perfect setup for a clot. That's what happened to Harold, 84, a retired postal worker. Every afternoon, he walked his neighborhood. But one summer day, after walking in 90-degree heat, he woke up the next morning confused. A stroke had formed overnight, triggered by dehydration and slow circulation. His blood test showed high viscosity. The warning signs had come the day before, but no one saw them. So here's what you can do. Walk early, before the heat sets in. Drink water before you walk, not just after. Add a pinch of salt or sip coconut water to keep your electrolytes balanced. And if you feel extra tired, lightheaded, or dry-mouthed afterward, listen. Because your brain doesn't just need movement. It needs hydrated movement. And sometimes, staying strong means skipping the walk, or adjusting the time, so that your steps don't lead you quietly into harm's way. We've all done it. Roll the neck after a nap, tilt the head side to side after reading, trying to shake off the stiffness. It feels harmless, even helpful. But what if that gentle neck roll, done just a little too fast or too far, was stretching something far more fragile than your muscles? Inside your neck run two slender arteries called the vertebral arteries. They wind up through tiny openings in your spine and feed the back of your brain, areas responsible for balance, coordination, even consciousness. And as we age, these vessels become less flexible, more vulnerable. Now imagine twisting that neck too quickly, or drawing big circles without support. The vessel wall can tear. It's called an arterial dissection. Your body reacts by forming a clot at the site, trying to heal. But that clot can break loose, travel into the brainstem, and cause a devastating stroke. Dennis, 72, a retired band director, used to do slow neck rolls every morning. One day, he felt a sharp pop behind his ear. Dizziness followed. Minutes later, he collapsed. The scan showed a tear in his left vertebral artery. A movement that once felt good nearly cost him his ability to speak. So instead of full circles, try this. Gently turn your head side to side within your natural range. Avoid sudden jerks. And never stretch to your limit, especially if you're on blood thinners or have neck stiffness. Think of your neck not as a hinge to be cracked, but a lifeline to be protected. Because sometimes the smallest twist becomes the biggest regret. By now, you might be thinking, should I stop moving altogether? And the answer is absolutely not. Movement is life, but movement must match the body you live in today. This video isn't meant to scare you into stillness. It's meant to help you reclaim control, because what once felt automatic at 40 now demands awareness at 70. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. Instead of pushing harder, we're learning to move smarter. Instead of following routines meant for younger bodies, we're adapting with care, with breath, with presence. So if you've felt uneasy hearing these stories, take a deep breath. You're not broken. You're simply being invited to upgrade how you care for the body you've worked so hard to keep. Because your health isn't about doing more. It's about doing what's right for where you are now. You've seen the videos. People standing on one foot, arms out, eyes closed, testing their balance. It's framed as a challenge, a way to measure your age. And while balance is important, doing it without support can turn dangerous fast. As we age, the systems that help us stay upright, inner ear, vision, muscle memory, all become slower. The margin for error shrinks. A wobble that once meant nothing can now send you to the floor. And one fall, it can change everything. I met Louise, 76, who loved her morning standing poses. But one morning, as she stood near the kitchen island, arms lifted, She wobbled, reached too late, fell backward. She hit her head and suffered a small brain bleed. She told me later, "I just didn't want to feel like I needed help." That mindset, so common, so human, can be costly. So here's the shift. Instead of proving your independence by balancing without support, show your wisdom by doing it near support. A wall, a chair, a countertop. Your body still benefits. Your brain still practices. But you remove the fall risk. Because balance isn't about impressing anyone. It's about protecting the only body you've got. Now, if you've made it this far, take a moment. This wasn't an easy video. It asked you to re-examine habits you may have held for decades. But growth isn't always comfortable. You're not being asked to stop moving. You're being invited to move with awareness, to honor the body you have today, not the one you remember from yesterday. And if this message resonated with you, leave a 1 in the comments. If it challenged you, leave a 0. Either way, you're thinking differently now. That's the first step. Subscribe for more practical guidance rooted in science and respect for aging. Because you deserve more than fear. You deserve clarity, safety, and the freedom to keep living on your terms.